I would like to start with a question, a philosophical question, if I may, for today's Taco Tuesday episode.
Fire
Is
away.
this a taco? And if it's not a taco, what separates this sandwich from being considered a taco?
If that's not a taco, then this shouldn't be either.
See, where do you ethically, morally, where do you draw the line on what is considered a taco and what is not?
Hi, I'm Christian Brindle with Christian Brindle Insurance Services.
And I'm Glen Shelton with Lead Heroes and Hire Heroes.
And this is Taco,
Taco
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Let's talk about insurance. This is a show all about growing your business as an insurance agent and bringing you up-to-date marketing trends. We have great guests.
We have sales experts. We'll talk about all things pertaining to senior insurance and other lines of insurance. We're trying to help you grow your business, and we are excited that you are here to watch our content.
If you enjoy this episode, make sure to like the episode. Subscribe to any platform that you enjoy to listen on. Make sure to leave a 5-star review if it allows it, and we'll see you on the episode.
We'll see you in there.
You know, I honestly think that every single sandwich burger combination can be traced back in its lineage to the taco family.
The chicken or the egg? Was the taco first or was the hot dog first? What about the sandwich?
See,
what about the burger?
Could you not consider a hot dog a meat taco, a weenie taco?
What about a corn dog? Is that a taco?
A taco wrapped within its taco parameters.
Perhaps it's a chimichanga.
Oh, is a chimichanga a taco?
I don't think. Guys, drop a comment below this video.
If you care
Let us
about
know.
tacos, you care about the integrity of tacos, let us know. Drop comments because we need you guys to settle this one for us because
It's critical that we keep high integrity levels with tacos. That being said, we have quite the topic today. AEP 2023, which we are a week, as of this recording, we are a week away. We've speculated in prior episodes about what this AEP is going to look like. There's a lot I think we could get into. We don't have a ton of time. I don't want to waste Christian's time. I don't want to waste any of our valuable viewers or listeners' time today either. So we're going to jump right into it. AEP 2023. What are your expectations? Christian Brindle, take it away.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Let's
start
talk
off
about
with.
it.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I don't know if elephants like tacos. That's, I guess, their preference, but
Oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah, they do.
I have firsthand experience with this.
I eat tacos with elephants all the time. Yeah.
An elephant should be in the thumbnail, but anyway. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's address the elephant in the room, not get it out of the room. About the compliance, right? The increased compliance. So I think there's going to be a lot of in doubt in the eyes of a lot of agents. There's going to be a lot of unsure kind of movements going on because there's this new bombshell of the new compliance, the call recordings, the disclaimer, the increased compliance and squeeze on approved marketing materials. And I think that's going to cause some agents that are able to figure out these problems quick, fast, and in a hurry, or already have, to have a magnificently profitable AEP. And it's an opportunity for those agents that actually have it figured out. And the ones that don't are going to absolutely crash and burn and crumble and probably quit. So there's going to be two ends of the spectrum, and I don't think there's going to be a lot in between. I think people are going to do really well, or they're going to really struggle because there's this humongous change that's taking place this AEP. It's unlike any AEP we've ever seen before. We've never seen a regulation go into effect like this 10-1, as long as I've been in the business. And so it's going to be different. I think for us, I think we're very well prepared. I think we have infrastructure. I think we have training. I think we have systems and processes in place that I feel confident about. I think we're going to absolutely do great and fantastic. But I know that there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people right now. It's end of September that we're recording this, that are just starting to figure out options to get their calls recorded. It's not looking good for those people because this should have been something you should have started to figure out back in June or July when this started to make the waves in terms of the final rule coming out. So that's my 10,000 foot view thoughts.
I'm trying to date this. I want to say the initial, wasn't it like end of April?
Yes. Yeah.
It was
a little bit
April,
before July, June.
Because I think I was on the phone by May talking about it with some FMOs that we work with. So yeah, I mean, guys, this has been months. This isn't like a new thing. Even if you didn't realize maybe the amount of calls that you have to record, which I think that might be one thing that's changed since maybe we discussed this last. Yeah. Initially, a lot of people thought it'd be only enrollment phone calls. And now the latest hammer to drop is record everything. I think the carriers are a little unsure, just like everyone's a little unsure right now on how this is all going to play out. I don't know. Christian doesn't know. We can only kind of speculate what the future holds. But I think the carriers are erring on the side of caution. And so their guidance, at least from some of them that I've personally seen firsthand, is record everything. And I mean, why wouldn't you? The part that blows my mind is all of the agent pushback on this. Guys, if you record the calls, you're protecting yourself.
Yeah.
This isn't about jumping through hoops for CMS. This is about protecting yourself, because what happens if you don't have that call recorded is that client then can call in and say that you literally said anything, and it is now their word against yours. And if you don't have a recording, it's all,
there's no proof.
He said, she said. Yeah, there's no proof of anything. So from that point of view, it pains me, because I think it's a huge benefit, unless you're literally doing something like super non-compliant on that phone call. I don't know why you wouldn't. And again, I come from the call center world, you guys, where this isn't new. If you were a call center selling during AEP, you were already recording all of your calls anyways. So from my point of view, it's not a massive change. There's a couple of changes. So to have this huge pushback from agents is disheartening. And to touch on what Christian said, what the hell, you guys? Why are we just now trying to figure this out end of September? Why are there so many people still saying, how do I record my calls? How do I record? It's 2022. What do you mean? How can you record your calls? You record your calls by recording your calls. There's a million ways to do it. And if I hear one more agent who tries to make an argument that the cost is keeping them out of the business, shame on you, because the cost is so small. There's almost no cost to it.
Yep. I mean, there's so many ways to do it too. I mean, it's funny because you mentioned, there's been some new information that's come out about it from some of the carriers. It's weird because the information is different from every carrier. So it's all, and I think we kind of expected that, but it's all based on their own interpretation of the final rule. So some carriers have come out and said only enrollment calls. Other carriers have come out and said every call. So I got a question, actually yesterday, I was doing a training for a group of agents and on Zoom, and the question came up, what do I do? Because some carriers are saying this, some carriers are saying that. I'm like, I would just, I guess, play it safe, record everything. Because you don't know going in what you're going to sell, and like, you can't be like, okay, company A requires this with the recording, company B requires this with the recording, company C requires this, and just know that going in. That's ridiculous. That's just too, it's overcomplicating the entire thing. Just record every call. And I think that's going to be probably the safest way to go about it.
Man, a lot to be said here. So another thing that I think is something that's changed again from when we talked about it before is I was kind of bearish coming into this AEP in the sense that the last couple AEPs now have been a bit of a nightmare. Marketing super saturated, so many phone calls going out, letters, internet ads, you name it, right? TV ads, to the point where it affected a lot of agents and agency owners. I've spoken to them firsthand where they didn't hit the sort of numbers that they thought they would hit. So I'm kind of swinging the other way this AEP. If I had to bet now, I'm actually kind of bullish. I think this is going to be a huge opportunity this year. There's a lot of agents and agencies who are, I don't want to say sitting out, but in a sense, they kind of are. Like they're not going to be going the sort of speed that they normally will, because they're kind of waiting to see how the compliance of all of this will play out. As an example, they want to see if a call isn't recorded and CMS requests it, they want to know what's going to happen. Is it a slap on the wrist? Is it, they end up potentially losing their license? Are they going to get terminated with a carrier? Like there's a lot of these things that I think a lot of people are like, let's see what happens. So if you're like Christian and you're confident that you're doing the right thing, you're trying to do the right thing, and you have the infrastructure in place, which it's cheap and it's easy. This isn't a huge ask to record your calls. I think you have a huge opportunity ahead of you, potentially the biggest opportunity as far as AEPs go ever.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think this segues into another point that I wanted to touch on with this is, let's talk about normal things, right? Normal things that people need to be thinking about. Because I wanted to touch on that because I don't know how we have this video without really kind of spending some time on the compliance. But also, and I won't say any names of any carriers, but actually this is all agent facing. If I do, will they really come after me? I don't know. Maybe I'll just let it slip. We'll see. But we'll see how I feel. There's some companies that are dramatically making changes on their products, on what's available across the country, and it's dramatic changes. It's like changes that change the landscape in certain markets. Like I feel like, especially last AEP, but probably the last couple of AEPs, there hasn't been a lot of changes in many markets. Now it's not the same everywhere, but a lot of markets were just seeing minor shifts and changes on products, just a little bit different, like you have a $30 specialist copay here, now it's $35, or you have a $30 specialist copay here, now it's $25. Like that's not a huge market shift that's going to allow you opportunity to write a lot of business. Now we're seeing plans like, I'll just say it, Humana.
I knew it. The big green,
gang green.
Gang green.
Hang on, guys, I got something for you. Yeah.
Meds up, baby. Let's go.
From what I've been told, the last couple of years, they've been kind of getting killed. They've been losing their shorts a little bit because they've just kind of been coasting. They have aggressively been going for it for 2023. Like they've increased their dental packages and their dental value propositions all over the country. Like in our market in Utah, they were probably the 4th or 5th best carrier, if I had to say.
Right.
Now you could argue they're number 1 with how dramatically they've come forward for next year. So we're going to write a ton of business with them, I'm sure, this AEP. And so I feel like there's more market changes than we've seen in several years too, which anytime you have market changes, whether it be carrier expansions, carrier improvements, what you find is opportunity to write a lot of business that you might not have been able to write previously because there's a better product available that's new. Nobody has it. And so I'm really excited about that because there's a lot of changes in the landscape across the country. So I think the opportunity is tremendous. I think just there's a lot of agents that need to get out of their own way.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I've said this before on Taco Tuesday, and I'll say it again, you guys. If you're genuinely trying to help that Medicare beneficiary, you really don't have anything to worry about. And I've said that before, and I still agree with that. There's so many people who get just wrapped up to the point where it's analysis paralysis. It really is. Paralyzed with fear, paralyzed with what if,
Yeah.
Essentially catastrophizing, right? You're making just this, what potentially could be a small thing into this huge thing. Yeah, you should record your calls. You should have been recording your calls this whole time, though, you guys. It's a no-brainer, because again, you're protecting yourself. Not to mention, keeping yourself clean. Everyone wants to say, well, it's that person who's the issue, or this entity or that company. They're the ones that are the problem, not me. Well, then just record your calls, and I'm hoping that this will actually filter out the bad actors, you guys. And if it even helps a little bit, I'm honestly for it. I am 100% for the increased regulation.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Totally. 100%. I mean, I feel like now here's another thing I want to say about the compliance. What I've been told by a lot of very valuable contacts we have with carriers, with other groups, I won't say any names or anything like this about in this regard. But the other thing is, like, I think people feel like it's a witch hunt. And what I've been told from several valuable sources that we have is it's not a witch hunt. They are more trying to bust the people that are actively committing fraud and calling up people and saying, like, from Pakistan, and saying, I am from Medicare. That's the people they're trying to go after. They're not trying to go after.
There are international call centers who are doing actual enrollments. That's been going on.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of stuff that's like so clearly non-complicit that needs to be stopped immediately.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is, to me, what they're trying to go after with this.
Yeah.
And what I've been told is, if your intention is to help the client, and that is clear on the phone call, even if you don't do everything 100% by the book, or you make a mistake, God forbid, because we're all humans, maybe you make a mistake on the call.
Right.
I don't think it's going to result in you losing your contract or anything. You might get a coaching. And that's if you have an allegation. You only have to provide the phone calls if you have an allegation.
Right. And I do think they'll look for a pattern of abuse. I don't think it'll be a one-off thing, you guys, where like one thing happens and your whole career's over. Like I don't see CMS trying to throw the book at agents.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's more so like, hey, Christian, this is your 5th time not recording your call. We have an issue, right? Like, we've had multiple allegations. You haven't been able to provide a single phone call to us. Yeah, now you're in hot water. You could get in some serious trouble. But that's my quote unquote expectation, or what I think will happen. Now, here's something I wanted to ask you. This could stir the pot a little bit, but I know you're a bit of a pot stirrer, Mr. Brindle. The witch's brew, as we come into October here.
Yes, I'm listening.
So a lot of agents, and we're seeing it on social media. Oh,
anyway, go on. I'm just gonna hold this like this the rest of the episode.
Hold that Dragon Ball for me.
Yeah, go on.
A lot of agents and agency owners have been, they're trying to go through like scenarios, right? Which I get it. As a business owner, I'm always like, okay, if this happens, then what? If this happens, then what? So a scenario that I keep seeing people ask about is, you're on a phone call with a Medicare beneficiary, maybe it's even your existing client, and you say, hey, this is Christian, we're on a recorded line. How can I help you? Christian, I don't want to be on a recorded line. Now what? What happens if they say they do not want to be recorded?
Fuck you, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, So the clarification on that scenario has been muddy at best with different carriers. Some carriers have said that if someone says they don't want to be recorded, you don't have to record them at that point. Right. Others have said you have to disconnect the phone call. So, I mean,
this goes back to what we were just talking about, where if you're trying to do what's best for the client, you really don't have to necessarily worry about it. But I have heard that some carriers, they won't put it in writing.
Yeah.
But they're supposedly saying if they don't record, you can move forward basically and not record the call.
Right.
It seems like you're creating this massive gray area.
Totally, 100%. I mean,
yeah.
My advice would be this, guys. I would do everything I could to get that call recorded. The other thing I would do is I would look at your state laws in terms of recordings. Like, how strict are they? Do you have to disclaim that?
There's only like 11 states where you have to tell them legally that you're recording them.
So look at that.
The vast majority of states, you can record someone and not say a word about it. And it's 100% legal.
So there you go. I mean, in that scenario, like if I'm in a state that doesn't have that requirement and I'm mainly selling in that state, I might not even disclose it to people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure both of our states, Oregon and Utah, I think it's one party. So
yeah,
I don't think. Well, I know for a fact Utah's not, because it was in the news just like a year or two ago regarding the Mormon Church. But that's a
Taco Tuesday for another day.
That's a different story for another time, folks.
No, but so that's one thing. Now, if let's say you're in one of the states that you have to supply consent, right? Because that's always going to be the question. Well, maybe I am in that state. So what I would do if it was me is I would just tell the client, I'd blame it on Medicare. It's the same thing as with the scope of appointment. Blame the government, blame regulation. Be like, I'm really sorry. There's just been some new rules that have come out, and the Medicare is kind of making it a requirement for me as a Medicare agent to have the call recordings recorded. So that way, if it ever comes into question on maybe what information was disclosed, that we have proof of it. It's just something that they're requiring us doing. And if I don't keep the recording of the call on file, then I'm violating regulations. And I just want to do everything I can to follow the rules. I think if you just level with people, I think a lot of people, and another thing you can tell them is be like, listen, I promise that, we follow all HIPAA laws. The call recording will never be shared. It will be stored in a very secure place. Nobody will ever have access to it. We won't ever even listen to it unless we were asked for it from an insurance company. I think if you break it down that way, most reasonable people would be like, all right, whatever. Like, it's the same thing with scope of appointments, by the way. I've been in houses with people with scope of appointments where I'm trying to get them to sign it before I'll go into plan details. And the person's like, well, I'm not signing that, so I guess we have nothing to talk about. And I've held my ground, and I'm like, yeah, I guess not. And like, I remember one house in particular, I got up and I started walking out, and the wife jumped in and helped me. And she's like, David, for God's sake, sign the damn thing. And he did, and we got the app. And
I just imagine you in like a Mexican standoff over getting that scope sign.
Those kind of things happen. So it's similar. Just do your best. That's the best thing. That's what I've always told people with everything when it comes to compliance. Do your best. Do your very best to follow all the rules compliantly to the best of your abilities. And if you make a mistake or anything like that, I don't think it's a witch hunt.
I agree. I know I want to be conscious of your time. We're coming up on that 30-minute mark around there. Final thoughts, Christian, on AEP 2023, and then we'll have to do a recap once 2023 AEP wraps. But as of right now, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think I at this late in the game, I don't know what you guys can necessarily do in terms of preparation, but I hope you guys have been preparing. We start preparing for AEP in July. Some people start preparing even earlier than that. we'd start doing some preparation even a little bit before July. But so I hope you guys are prepared. I hope you guys are ready to take advantage of the opportunity, because I think there is a lot of opportunity. We're spending more money than we've ever spent before in one AEP. We're aggressive about it, because I feel like when everybody's retracting, that's when we want to be aggressive. And so I'm very optimistic about it. I think it has the potential to be an incredible AEP.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys make the most of it. Those are my final thoughts.
I think that's fantastic. The last thing I'll say on the phone recording stuff, you guys, I called my bank today, and, one of the first things they say to me when I get someone on the phone at my bank, hey, this call might be recorded for quality assurance purposes. Do you think for a second I even thought about that? No, it didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing I'm thinking about is, oh no, am I being recorded by my bank right now? Like, I think for the average consumer, a quick disclosure like that is practically meaningless. Like, I don't think it's going to have an effect really on anything. So overall, though, my final thoughts really align with Christian, you guys. I think this has potential to be a huge AEP, whether you're new or you're established. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I think that leads to a lot of opportunity. And, the bottom line, I think, on all of the compliance is, if you're truly trying your best to help that Medicare beneficiary, you really don't have anything to worry about. So that is my final thoughts on this coming AEP.
Amen.
Godspeed to all of you out there. Godspeed.
And I hope you guys survive. No, I'm just kidding.
Survive.
Anyway, guys, we'd love to kind of have your feedback on this. We've been off for quite some time, so this is probably the first episode you've seen since on Taco Tuesday. Let's talk about insurance, since we did the in-person ones, back with the summit. So it's good to be back with you guys. We'd love some feedback on kind of your thoughts about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you like to argue about it? Let's go for it. Comment section. That's where it's going to happen.
It's dropping.
And yeah, guys, subscribe, 5-star review if you like the show on Apple or any other podcast platform you're listening to us on. Helps us out a lot. Helps us reach more agents like you who need to hear our information. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. And adios, amigos.